Okay, so limacons and cardioids will have some similar properties, but there's a difference between a limacon with a loop and a limacon without a loop. Now if you take your paper, if you look at this one, you can kind of see the snail peeking out. It's a little tricky. It'd be better if the head was a little bigger, but you can see the snail's shell and then the head kind of looking at you as if the snail was coming towards you. It's a stretch to look at. We will talk about it in class if you want to see it a little bit better. If you do b minus a and it comes out to be a positive number, you know you have a loop. If it comes out to a negative number, you know you don't have a loop. So b minus a is equal to a positive number, you're going to have a loop. So it's positive for the loop. And if you have a negative number, there will be no loop. The formulas look very similar. It's just which one is bigger than the other there. If you have a loop, every single one will have a critical point of 0, 0. It will go through that, so we'll throw that in there again. If you don't have a loop, then you will not have that as a critical point. Just like before, we're going to have the a pi over 2 and negative pi over 2. Same as the cardioid. Now you definitely need to know that this is the a value because the numbers are now both different. And you're going to have that here, but it'll be a0, a pi for each of these. Now here's where it becomes a little bit different. You're going to have a plus b, and you're going to have b minus a. So a plus b, 0 in this case, a plus b pi. Actually same as cardioid for the a plus b. And then the b minus a. So b minus a is going to actually be on the same side as a plus b because you have the loop. If you don't have a loop, it's going to be on the opposite side. So positive, same sign, same side, and the negative will be a little bit different. Okay, so again, with the chart and all this information that we're filling in here, you may need to pause because I did fill it in kind of quickly to get that information filled in. You don't have to memorize this information, it's going to come from the graph, but the key here is knowing that b minus a. So let's take a look at our first example. 2 plus 4 cosine theta. So this is going to be horizontal. Again, if you quickly check b minus a here, and you do 4 minus 2, before you do anything so that you know what kind of critical points, you get a positive 2, so that means you're going to have a loop. So you're going to have 0, 0. You're going to have 2 up here, and the 2 down here. It's positive, so if you do 2 plus 4, that's a plus b, you're going to get 6. And then the 4 minus 2 we already found for the loop is going to go right there. Connecting this is a little bit tricky. I tend to like to start at 0, 0, make the loop, and then kind of connect them in order. I'll show you this on the board in class if you had trouble with that. These sometimes come out a little tiny, so I definitely like to label with the letters. C, D, E. So we'll do A is 0, 0. B is 2, 0. And G is 6, 0. C is 2 negative pi over 2, and E is 2 pi over 2. So they're not labeled quite in order, but you can do what works best for you. Our next example is going to be a negative sine limacon. This one's going to be a little tricky to draw because it's kind of skinny. Again, if I do b minus a, so 5 minus 1, ignore the negative sign. This just means that you're going to have that negative equation that you're working with. So a and b are always positive. 5 minus 1 is going to give you 4. Again, it's positive, so you're going to have a loop. We're going to plot 0, 0. We're going to plot 1 on either side of that. And we're going to plot 6 on the negative side. We already did 5 minus 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to plot 4 on the negative side as well. So again, I'll do this one a little differently and do the loop last. We'll have A, B, C, D, and E. So A, again, you can write 2 pi or negative 2, 0, however you want to do this. B is 0, 0. C is 2, 0. D is 4, negative pi over 2. And E is 6, negative pi over 2. Forgot to label that E. There we go. I apologize. I put 2 instead of 1, 0. And rather than redoing the video, I am just going to correct that mistake real quick since we're already at 6 minutes. It's like class. Sometimes I make those mistakes. So A is 1, 0 and C is 1, 0. Make sure that you fix that. So again, Limacons, cardioids, very similar process, but we have a loop here.